Okay. The stream should be going in however many seconds, which is good. Now I just got to make sure I'm streaming the right thing. Yep, streaming the right thing. Good stuff. This is well. Oh, stream starting. Stream fantastic. Should be going in. So, welcome to the debate cast. The two people who are watching. This is Kyle Chong. Over here on the left. Over here. Look, it's Kyle Chong. So why don't you, Kyle, tell me a little bit about your high school career? Because I don't actually know your accolades or anything about that.
Cool. So yeah, I'm Kyle. I debated for Bronx. Graduated in 2015, so that'd be 2 years ago. Senior year, I made it to finals at Glenbrooks, semis at Emory, couple bids around at like Harvard, and I don't even remember my own accolades. I won the Blake round robin. I think I said that.
Huh.
But yeah.
You debated in the 2014-2015 year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's see. We can look at Bronx CD for the 2014-2015 year for. Let's switch it over to this. Yeah. Do you have anything else? Anything else to say about how? Oh, there's Nueva.
About what?
About your years debating. How many? I don't really know.
Yeah. So I was in the same year as like Jaco Erda and Ben Kessler. So like that was the team that broke the bid record. And they still have the bid record at 12, which is really impressive. Yeah, I mean, I thought my year was pretty solid.
I mean, I think your year is probably one of the best years they've had, right? Because you had, not because of you, by the way. Because
I know. Yeah, I'm pretty garbage in comparison to Jaco.
Oh yeah, there's him. So you debated with Gabe Del Sol, right?
I did.
Bronx CD.
Yes.
Let's see. Did you debate with him all 4 years at every tournament?
No. So the way Bronx worked was you switch partners every year. So senior year, Gabe and I became partners, and we toured.
Wow. You switch partners every. That seems like such a. Like, why would they? It's just like the way Bronx worked.
Yeah, because it's like a huge team. So there's like 50 people on the PF squad alone.
Right.
So partnership switches were pretty common just because like people would quit, they'd do other things, or it just wouldn't the partnerships wouldn't work out. But if there was ever a solid partnership, and there's tons of examples of this, those partnerships wouldn't switch.
Okay, that makes sense. I guess you only found your really solid partnership your senior year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still good.
I mean, I had some really great partnerships in like junior year as well and sophomore year. So.
Okay. But you stayed with Gabe almost all your senior year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. Let's see, what else? Why don't you? So okay, how big is the Bronx Science debate team, or how big was it when you debated?
So when I was a senior, I was also president of the team. It was about 300, and the team size was 300, and then the active membership was probably close to like 150. So there were like a lot of novices who ended up just like joining and not doing anything more than that.
Right.
Which accounts for like why we have such a large size.
Yeah, because I guess your school is huge, right?
Yeah.
Because
it's like 3,000 people, so like 1 in 10
that's pretty big.
Students were on the debate team, which is pretty cool.
Which means in every class you have somebody on the debate team. Which means every class is going to be in big argument. Or at least that's the way it turned out at Nueva.
Well, I don't know about that.
Just to put that in perspective, Nueva has like less than 300 kids in the high school right now. Which means that your debate team was larger than our high school, which has been the case for several years now, because freshman year, Harker's debate team was larger than our high school, because we were in one grade. It's just
Well, I mean, school. It's because Nueva is a very new school, so
It's new, and they want to keep it small, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the percentages work out similarly because we don't have 3,000 people at our school. If we did, then I would be sad having like a debate team of, like 15 active members.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Do you have? I guess. Why don't you? How many bids did you get in your senior year? And let's just talk about your presence on the circuit your senior year.
Sure. I got 5. Well, I got 6 competitively. With Gabe, I got 5. There was one tournament in which I just decided to go to. Ended up getting a ghost bid at that tournament. So
wow. That's wait. So you were walked over. So here, I'm just gonna pull up Kyle and Gabe's.
Yeah. So that was at the tournament in which I got walked over was at the Beltway tournament, which is hosted by Walt Whitman.
Huh.
Yeah. Just quick plug on the Beltway tournament. It's freaking great. Everyone should go.
What bid is it? Is it a?
Yeah, I think it's a finals bid still.
That's a tough bid.
Yeah. Well, finals bids are really hard just because like you have to debate so many rounds just to get there.
Yeah, right. Like octos, you debate 2 rounds because even at the biggest tournament, you debate 2 rounds and you have a bid. And then
or just 1 round, right? Like Glenbrooks breaks the doubles.
Glenbrooks breaks the doubles.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest clears like ever.
Oh, do they have a major like 4-2 screw or whatever?
Yeah, if you're a 4-2, you can count yourself as like not breaking pretty much.
No way, that's crazy. Yeah. Okay, so then see, I feel like that's unfair. You should be able to lose 1 round and still break, or lose 2 rounds and break.
Well, I mean, that's not to say that like no 4-2s will break, but like it's really hard for that to happen.
Right. I guess because they want to. Why would they want to keep it at a double octos? I guess it might just be a scheduling thing.
Yeah,
anyway.
Because the Glenbrooks in PF is only a 2-day tournament, and finals for that tournament starts at like 11 p.m.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
They probably appreciate closeouts then. They're like, finally, we're done with this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from a tournament run perspective, I think sort of everyone appreciates a closeout.
Yeah.
Just because there's 1 fewer round to tab.
Less tabbing, less judging. People get to go home earlier.
Exactly. And it's awesome to say that, like, a school closed out the tournament.
Yeah, but it's also way more exciting to hear finals because it's like finals.
I guess that's true.
So you got to finals at Glenbrooks. I'm going to run you through like your senior year in high school.
Okay.
Finals at Glenbrooks. Semis at Princeton for your bid.
That's true.
Octas at Blake. You're slipping here, Kyle.
I know, but the morning after, we did pretty well at the round robin.
You're right. That's where I remember watching your partners' rebuttals because Griffin and I were new partners at this time.
Okay.
And so your partner pulled me into, or not your partner, Griffin pulled me into that round. He's like, "Hey, you've got to see this guy debate about Gabe."
Yeah.
And so like we watched one of Gabe's rebuttals, and Gabe with his like giant fat like Alienware computer, right? Is like reading off of it for rebuttal, and it's like super fast, and we're all super excited in the audience. And then halfway through his rebuttal, he closes it and gives the same speech that he's giving, like same speed, same card level, same analytics, as if he wasn't reading from his computer the entire time, which was like the most impressive thing that I thought. But that was my first time seeing you and your partner debate, but to be honest, I was more impressed with your partner's rebuttal than with your summary.
Well, I mean, that's okay. What round do you remember?
It was you guys against, I think I want to say it was a, like, Ohio, like college, God, I don't remember what team it was. It was some team from Ohio, and they have Ohio in the name.
Is it U School, Ohio?
Yeah, University School, Ohio.
Oh, okay. I think that was semis.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the out rounds. And we were amazed because we were coming from this like California, I suppose, like the California like our coastal forensics league, sort of super slow style of
Yeah.
debate. And we just,
Yeah, the CFL is so slow.
it's so slow. It pains me to like debate around similar to how we would debate in the CFL now, because it's just, your mind just thinks too, yeah, it kills me. But, so then there was semis at Emory and quarters at Harvard.
That's about all of them.
Yeah, that's all of them. And then you got a bid with a different partner,
Yeah.
which is sort of crazy. Like, so see, Bronx, Kyle Chong and Harrison Giovanelli.
Yeah. So he was a sophomore back then. I decided to reprise my role as the second speaker for
Wow.
that one,
Wow.
which was fun.
Were you ever a second speaker? You were a second.
Yeah. So going into senior year, I was always the second speaker.
Wow.
As was Gabriel. But
Right. And then
I guess
you just
I understood the game of debate better.
so you could switch more easily to a first speaker role.
Mm-hmm.
Summary's hard.
Summary is really hard.
Because
Yeah.
you just have to cover more stuff than you have to do in rebuttal. It's different, right? I can't just read blocks in summary. That's
true.
Like, rebuttal is
Not the
mindless.
point of a summary.
No. Like, I can just read from rebuttal's like the first constructive, except I just write the speech midway through, right? It's sort of mindless. Also, we discovered blocks from you and Gabe. We
Really?
asked you after that round how he was giving his rebuttal in like that same way, and
I think I remember that actually.
you and Gabe looked at us like, what the hell are these kids asking us? Like, do they not understand what pre-written responses are? Because for the longest time we would just make up responses on the spot,
Mm-hmm.
and you end up giving the same ones, but you have no idea what you're saying between then.
Right.
Let's see. I guess I was going to ask you if you judged any tournaments, but I realized we haven't gone to any tournaments with you, so you wouldn't have judged
true.
any.
So tournaments I've judged at as a first year out.
Yeah.
Geez. Okay, so I did Harker, which is where I met you two originally.
Yeah.
Where I met the Nueva
Nueva crew.
Originally. I judged a couple locals.
That must have been hell.
The Milpitas Super Debate. Shout out to the CFL.
Oh my god. The 4 rounds that takes like, it's one day.
It's a whole day.
Yeah,
just 4 rounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like not an awful ratio, but
I mean,
it's a pretty slow tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, it's run so. I mean, it's hard to run a tournament, I imagine, but it takes forever to get through.
Pretty true.
Yeah, but what else?
Last year I also judged at Blake and ASU, so that was over winter break for me, which was fun.
Were you flown out by Harker to Blake?
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Blake was going to be run by Sandy anyways, so that's why I sort of came out.
Right.
And just flew out. But there was a Harker team there, and there was also a Harker team in the round robin as well.
Oh, that's right. Which Harker team was in the round robin at Blake?
It was BC, so Sorjo and Isha.
Wow. They won ASU, right?
No, they won Stanford.
They won Stanford. That's right. They won Stanford.
Yeah. Joyce and Alex won ASU.
Which is pretty good. If you think about it.
Back-to-back championships.
Back-to-back tournaments. 2 different teams. That's pretty solid. What else? Any other? Let's go into like exciting rounds that you had your senior year, because just recounting them.
Oh wow. Okay. Exciting rounds. I guess the first one that comes to mind is the Blake round robin finals.
Okay.
So that was a pretty interesting tournament because Blake, nobody's really prepared for.
Yeah, we learned that the hard way.
So like literally nobody except for maybe like the Beckers has a decent amount of prep. So there's very little clash. But we ended up doing really well because we we just had this like pretty cheap strategy
Mm-hmm.
that nobody at the point where Blake came around had like responses to. So we were just like dropping teams left and right. Like, and we had no business beating teams because I had cut like less than 10 cards
Hey,
at the
that's
fast
better
time.
than where we were at that Blake tournament, where we were cutting cards from the Bouchard brief
Hey, that's
on the plane there.
at least there's cards there, man.
You're right. At least there were cards, but writing cases the 15 minutes before a round is a little difficult. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's not uncommon at Blake.
So what else? That was other than your cheapy strategy. Any like rounds that stick out to you that are memorable? Doesn't need to be in your senior year.
There was one time, I think it was like round 5, where, oh, this is actually an interesting story. So, it was at Lex, and just a quick overview about my experiences at Lex. So, in my experience, all the right teams clear at Lex, but none of the, but there's like a pretty like massive culling of good teams in the first out round. And the reason why that's true is because the out round judges are a lot more lay than the prelim judges, and that's just only because like if if you're having a triple octafinal, you're just pretty much going to use every judge in the pool,
Right.
which makes which makes the panels more lay. So a lot of really good teams like end up going out, which happened to me actually twice. So round 5 at Lex, I get paired up against Sty KU. We're still using the same stupid strategy on the Peacekeepers topic.
Right.
So we beat Jayco, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like people were hype about that. Round 6, we get paired up against Jonathan Evans from Sty, who was obviously prepped out by the strategy. We end up beating John Evans, which was fun, and then
That's good.
so like we had beaten their top 2 teams, and then because we were 6-0 at this point, we get a bye from trips. Then we get to debate doubles, and then in doubles we get paired against the third Sty team.
Oh no.
Who was like really really prepped out on us, and then we got 3-0'd by some Sty sophomores, which was pretty fun.
Wow, that's hardcore. Because that means that their prep out must have been crazy. Right?
Yeah, or I mean, they just made our strat look really stupid because our strat was really stupid, and then all the late judges were like, "Yeah, your strat's stupid."
So you were running like a sneaky strategy for lay and flow judges this tournament. That's like our strategy for lay judges.
I guess the strat was like, I mean, the argument was like intuitive enough that a mom judge could just eat it up.
Right.
And it was also like intuitive enough for a flow judge to just like go with it if you impact it well. So that was our Jan strat, which was
yeah. What was it, Kyle? Your January strat.
Yeah. So the topic was it was the Peacekeepers topic. So I don't remember the exact wording, but it was essentially like Peacekeepers good, or like Peacekeepers should have the power
to engage in offensive military operations. Yep.
Yeah. So our strat was on the con. It was like in the status quo, state actors solve regional conflicts better than peacekeepers will. So, and the reason why that was strategic was because if there are status quo actors that exist and are doing a fine job, then it non-uniques a lot of the offense that most AFs will have. So most AFs are just gonna be like offensive operations good, and they're not like most of the literature on that topic was not specific to the UN at all.
And there's no I see. There's nothing that says that the peacekeepers have to have this offensive force.
Yeah, exactly. So we made that argument, and judges were like, "Word, that makes sense." But the reason why it was strategic was because it non-unique to everything, except for like a couple unique harms about why the UN like would become impartial. So we just collapsed on impartiality a bunch of times.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I don't know, like, and it's an easy strategy because you just win off defense because you default to the neg.
Yeah. Oh, we won off defense so often. It was great.
That's like the one of the rounds I think that Matt and Jake had at some tournament. One of the RFDs was, I vote neg off of risk of terminal defense solvency, which made no sense. But and when we heard that, we were like sophomores and we had no idea what it meant. So we thought, oh, this like judge just was on another level with the round. So we asked like Patrick, who was helping us at the time, like, what the heck does this mean? Because we had no idea what any of the debate lingo was. And he's like, I too have zero idea of what this means. Like, this is meaningless to me because there is no such thing as risk of terminal defense solvency.
Yeah, that I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, but Kyle, you don't even know what theory is, so.
That's true. I really don't even know what debate is. I just
You
just listen to stuff and then I'm fine.
You just listen and write down some notes here and there.
Yeah.
Okay, how about people want us to talk about the topics, and I know I just texted you about them, but the November topics suck. Kyle.
Yeah, they're pretty awful.
Like, other than the infect to privacy because people aren't doing it in September, October, I have no idea what. Like, the second topic is the only one or the first topic is the only one that's viable.
Yeah, well, wait, you said the first topic is the viable one?
Wait, which one is the first topic?
The IoT topic is significantly better, right?
Yeah.
Like, option one is not a debate. It is a true fact. Right?
What is option? Oh, option one's
smartphones have improved the quality of life for users. Like,
okay, I flipped them.
Like, that's not a debate.
It's so bad, especially because then you can just read. I mean, I don't even know what the debate would be in that regard.
It's literally like how phones have changed the way we live, good, bad, you know?
The only thing that they can say is...
And also it's just stupid because, like, we can't have a debate about the environment, or we can't have a debate about, like, you know, like, resource extraction.
Because it's about the users.
Because it's about the users, right? Like, users don't feel that harm at all.
That's horrible. Yeah, because you can't say, like, oh, you're, mining minerals in Thailand and killing a bunch of people because of that. Because they're not using smartphones, but you are.
I guess, yeah.
That's horrible.
And also, like, just the definition of a smartphone, like, how are we gonna define that? I'm sure there are, like, some definitions.
It's gotta be in the dictionary, right? It's, like, such a commonly used term.
I don't know about, I mean, maybe, but I wouldn't even trust a dictionary definition, right? I'd probably go for, like some kind of scholar would probably be more preferable.
Yeah, saying that this is, like, the idea of a smartphone, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah.
God.
Option 2 sucks too, though. Like, the IoT, like, the benefits of IoT outweigh the harms of decreased personal privacy. Like, there's like a couple of problems with the topic is that neg like has so little ground to debate on.
Yeah.
Right. Also, like, technically, decreased personal privacy like doesn't need to have a link to IoT, right? Like, you read the resolution.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, benefits of IoT outweigh like any decreased personal privacy, right? Like.
Oh God, no. That just makes neg stronger though, because then neg can just say like, in this world in which IoT exists, there's way less privacy, whether or not it's a result of the Internet of Things.
Yeah.
Which is still pretty, like, at least that gives neg some ground. Because otherwise, if it's dependent on, like, an AF advocacy, I would just say that we put sensors in bridges and stop them from collapsing and killing people. The bridge has less privacy.
I guess, well, that's not necessarily true, right? Because even if we put sensors on bridges, that's only going to be contingent on, like, human interaction with that sensor, right?
Yeah, but it's not like they're losing out on, like you put strain gauges on bridges to tell if they, like, are experiencing too much force. You have no idea who's driving. There's no privacy loss. Other than that, we now know what the bridge feels.
I don't know if that's Internet of Things, right? Like, I'm pretty sure
Internet of Things is like connected devices.
Yeah, but it has to be like connected to some kind of human use, right? Like if
Is
there's
it really?
just like a sensor to determine if a bridge is going to collapse or not, I don't think that's IoT.
Really? I think that home automation systems, if you want to go like the personal privacy route, those can totally be
I guess
swung
that
as
makes
IoT.
sense. Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's all going to depend on your definition of IoT, and I think there's actually a lot of really good literature on that topic more than there is on option one.
Yeah, no, you're right. Especially considering that the smartphone topic is just true.
Right. Exactly. Like,
There's nothing about
it's
it.
essentially like
Why do these
it's
topics?
like a worse
like,
version of the GMO topic because the GMO topic, like, there were some pretty solid arguments for either side, um, but all the evidence was like just all pseudoscience.
Yeah. Or people
And
that said,
I'm pretty sure option one is just going to be a lot of pseudoscience.
yeah. Especially considering that like the only thing that feasibly could be construed as like a good thing for option or like ground for option one is like attention spans, right?
Yeah,
Like, oh, we give them to
like
children.
that are like social like interactions.
We
So
decrease face-to-face interactions and increase. Yeah, we're creating a generation of like necessitated extroverts because they have the ability to be in contact with people.
yeah,
So what?
it's just going to be really stupid.
I
Well, I
honestly,
really hope it doesn't get picked.
oh God, I'm just hoping there's nothing in November that we have to go to debate because I don't want to debate this topic. Maybe I'll do LD in November.
Well, LD is a pretty solid topic, right? Oh no, that's also going to get changed.
Yeah, that's gonna get changed. Policy is the one that stays the same, right? So
Well, no, I'm just saying because I thought it was like it's like September and then November, December. So
Yeah.
that'll be a topic by November.
yeah,
But the current LD topic is pretty fire.
it's solid, right? Because AF has a bunch of ground. Well, sort of, like because AF doesn't get a ton of ground off of because they have to decommission all nuclear reactors, don't they? That's the topic.
Yeah, I guess that is true, but like I think there's a pretty solid amount of like literature for both sides. And
People
also
are
just the topic is so much more interesting than anything that we could do. Like,
Yeah.
like literally the probable cause topic is so boring.
Oh, this one works. The Lincoln Douglas topic about like countries ought to prohibit the production of nuclear power. You just say
Yeah.
that two countries ought to. That way you're resolutional.
Okay, yeah. You're just like
Belgium
like
and
Iceland,
France. Yeah.
Yeah, Iceland and the Vatican City should not have nukes. Just saying.
So there we go. Topic. We're now topical. T doesn't work.
Word.
Yeah, I hate this topic currently. The like probable cause standard, because it just
Yeah, it's like really boring. I haven't even like, so I haven't judged around on this topic
oh,
since
you're
like,
gonna love it.
since camp. Has anything changed? Like, what are the big arguments now at Yale?
Well,
Or, like, what will be big at Bronx and Harker?
I think the biggest argument at Bronx and Harker will be like social movements, because as
Oh
we
my-
hit better and better teams through Yale, more and more people began running social movements.
Stop. That's not an argument, guys.
It's
like,
collective action.
That's literally okay.
Let's hear your rant about collective action.
Literally, what happened was a team got really popularized the argument and then gave all their evidence that it's not topical for any of the topics that they ran it on, right?
Yep.
It just was like just generic arguments about social movements, and they just gave it to all their friends at camp, and it just spread like wildfire. So now even when I was at VBI, like everyone was still running that, which is, really annoying.
Oh God, that's it. I'm telling you, it's going to be run more and more because every team that we hit in the last 4 rounds ran
I think
it.
that you can make that argument, but it's just cheap to make just to run a bunch of back files and link it to any topic, right? Like I think that like takes away from a lot of like specific argumentation.
It's what we
And
did for reps.
What?
It's what we did for the reparations topic.
Well, I wasn't coaching you back then.
So. That's true. So we couldn't have been yelled at about why that's bad. I'm like pulling up all my flows for like from Yale to like keep them all nice and safe to like look through them, because honestly this topic is horrible because I already ranted about the topic because every impact is the same. Everybody hates SROs and everybody thinks that SROs go down in their world and up in the other world, and no argument is true.
It's true.
It's not like the carbon tax topic where you're like, this thing happens and it's like a real thing that happens that has been talked about a lot. Meanwhile, we're talking about like 4 random people, like 4 authors who've actually considered the problem, and then everybody else just writes about general probable cause or general reasonable suspicion. Right. Why is the debate world so sad?
Well, I mean, I kind of see, like, I would understand why the wording committee would make the first topic one that, like, doesn't have a huge research burden, only because, like, novices do it. Like, the whole reason why the topic was made to be a 2-month topic is because they wanted to make it easier for novices to sort of come to grips with public forum.
Right.
So,
that makes sense.
That's It makes the debate a lot easier, but it also just makes it tougher because like there's just no new arguments that you could ever come up with unless you're gonna just go with the general route and like run social movements.
And then the general route sucks because there's like people just can assert things and there's no reasonable clash. You could say that it becomes a true test. Somebody told me this at Yale. It's like defending the topic, that it's a true test of debate skill because everybody has the same arguments and the same evidence. So then it's really about how you debate. But really, it's just who speaks last in that scenario.
I don't think that's true. I mean, I think that there's always going to be... So I think you're correct in saying that everyone has all the same evidence and everyone will pretty much have all the arguments prepped out, or all the generic arguments prepped out.
Right.
And if they're good, they'll have all the, the unique arguments prepped out. But I think it's always going to come down to which team, does a better job of weighing, or does a better job of cleaning up the round in summary, final focus.
Yeah, that's fair. Summary is a real important part.
Yeah.
For this.
And also, like on the probable cause topic, like if you're not doing any weighing, and by that I don't mean weighing of like impacts, right? Because all the impacts are the same. And like if someone tells me lives the most important thing again, I might just leave the room.
Hey, lives aren't a prerequisite for human rights. That's what Nueva CC dropped on at ASU. So sometimes it's important saying that lives are the most important thing.
I guess. I mean, really no.
Anyway, continue.
But yeah, it's not just about like weighing the impact. It's about weighing the links and like how strong your argument is and what effect the things you're arguing about have on sort of later in like impacts, right?
Right. Oh yeah, and it has a reasonable link debate, right? You're like, this happens first, then your thing happens. This is a prerequisite.
Right. Or like talking about just like probability or like time frame, and then that's important too, right? So like you could make the argument that in terms of safety, right, in the short run, probable cause might be good or bad, but in the long run, it like actually would be the opposite, right? And like that's a debate you can have and explain which is more important, right, short term or long term.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, well, let's talk about, rather than this horrific, horrible topic, or next month's horrific and probably even worse topic, I was going to suggest either fun rounds that you've had, but if you don't know any, like funny moments in rounds, but if you don't know any of those, what are your favorite tournaments to go to that like you were the best tournaments when you were in high school?
Well, I mean, for funny moments in rounds, I would say like literally every round was funny, because Gabe and I were just a bunch of trolls. We would go into rounds and just have fun, and it would be great for us. And win or loss, I don't know, but like we would usually just like have a good time, pick it up, and get some good speaks, and then just on to the next one.
That's good. I was telling you about like my round with like poly prep, right? The first thing that you messaged me was like, "Did you have fun?" Because otherwise, it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's true.
It's an important thing to note.
Yeah, if you're not having fun, like you're just doing this just to prove yourself. Like, there's no point. You should just find another activity that you actually enjoy.
Yeah, debate is above anything else. Very,
Yeah,
very
debate's an
fun.
extracurricular activity. It's something you choose to do on the weekends, right? Like you could be doing anything on the weekends, but you instead decide to put a suit on and you know talk to people.
Right.
So you
Very
probably should
suits.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
But in terms of tournaments that I enjoy, I never debated at the Bronx tournament, but if I did, I would probably love it. I thought the Bronx tournament was one of the best run tournaments.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
always well run.
there's
That's
free
because it's
food.
it's debaters who run the tournament, right?
That's true.
You
Yeah,
have like an army of Bronx kids who know where every room is.
that's true. Yeah,
So
it's like mandatory that like just having run Bronx before, it's mandatory for everyone who's on the team to at least have some kind of role. And it's really hard to get out of like doing your job. So there's really an oversupply of workers. So that's why it's such an easy tournament, or that's why it's such a good
yeah,
tournament.
it's certainly not an
It's like
easy
really well
tournament.
run. Oh yeah, it's really really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, because all the I remember 2 years ago the Bronx tournament. We didn't debate in Bronx 2 years ago, but we were looking it up. The Bronx tournament 2 years ago had a higher like bids in field than the TOC.
Really,
Yeah,
I believe that.
which is crazy. Just because it was bigger in size and like a bunch of Midwest teams that had a bunch of bids that couldn't go to the TOC just went to Bronx,
Yeah,
right?
makes sense. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and the Bronx tournament is well run, but are there any? Okay, let's go with this. Do you have any like horror story? Did you ever debate in like the New York League? Is there any like local league, or was it just all national tournaments for you?
Yeah, so when I was a senior, there was, or while I was still debating, there was this league called the Metro Hudson League,
Hmm.
MHL for short. So the MHL hosted like novice and JV tournaments every month. There was like one every month, uh, which was really, I guess they were really fun for me because like I enjoyed debating and like it was a good chance for me to get better.
Right.
But other than that, there's like very little in terms of like big locals that don't have bids.
So it's not
Pretty
like
much, yeah, pretty much like every tournament that was a regional tournament for us had a bid.
because I guess if you have the concentration of debaters in New York is insane,
Yeah,
right?
and like coupled that with like the New Jersey circuit, uh, it's pretty substantial. So like I would always see like Ridge, Del Barton, Princeton at like all the tournaments because they were just so close.
Dang.
Yeah, so our circuit was very tough. Like
Yeah,
not only was like Bronx and Stuyt there, like there were like up and coming schools like Horace Mann, Hunter College, Poly Prep was even getting big, like my junior and senior year. But
yeah,
yeah,
because they had. I don't know how Polyprep BH did your senior year, but there were solid teams your
yeah,
year, and they were all in the East Coast too. That was what
that's
amazed
true.
me.
Yeah, we had like all of the like really really great teams my senior year were like all from the Northeast and or from Florida
Mm.
and
Florida,
like maybe some from like North Carolina as well.
Florida's like this hidden gem of the circuit. I didn't even realize that Florida had like a
No, yeah,
solid
Florida
debate
forensics
presence.
is like huge in pretty much every event. Like they really do have like such a huge presence.
It's crazy. So this is Poly Prep's thing. They got like collectively as a school, like 9 bids, which is solid. Between David Almonte and like Harrison Hurt. But yeah, no, that was just.
Don't sleep on the first speakers, dude.
That's okay. Okay.
Don't sleep on the first speakers.
You're right.
Casper Dayton.
Yep, that's true. They do hard work. So what else? I was gonna ask one final thing about like your general insights into like what people can do better in debate from your rounds, like from watching things.
Sure. So people need to signpost more. People have been saying that since like PF started. People should, I don't know. I guess this is kind of difficult because like.
It's hard to generalize.
Right. It is hard to generalize, and also it's like this is a difficult skill. So people need to think about like their strategic or like why certain arguments are like strategically working out.
Right.
And I guess that like is pretty difficult because, when people say like, oh, I do debate, you're like, okay, you're making good arguments, but what you're actually doing is you're doing competitive debate. So you need to have like some sort of strategy that works out. Otherwise,
right.
You're just gonna lose to good teams.
Yeah, teams who know how to, I guess, just out-tech you, I suppose, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, this I was messaging you about too. What do you think about like the Bronx round robin invites? Because considering that you ran Bronx tournaments, how does the invite system work? Because there were some teams that were surprising.
Yeah. So I had a small hand in who got invited like last year, just because like there was pretty much nobody who could do those invites. So I was, I guess, that person in some capacity. But the people who get invited are decided by the tournament directors. So that's run by Kirby and Robert, who used to run the team and sort of come back just to do the tournaments. So, yeah.
Okay. So I heard from like numerous different people that like the round robin like invites are determined based on like summer performance because like it's the most recent camp performance, right? Or they're determined by like the 2 tournaments that come before them. Is it like a mix of both? Or
that's generally true. So I think I'm not sure if this rule is still enforced, but like if you're auto-qualified to the TOC and you're entered at the Bronx tournament, you're almost guaranteed to get an invite. So like, if you've gotten past octas at the TOC, like you're essentially a shoe-in. So things that they do look at is like, if you have rep, your summer performance, and I guess how well you do at like Yale and Wake, but that's not obviously huge because the invites do go out a lot earlier than that.
Yeah, they go out super early, don't they?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the like it's sort of necessary, right? Because you can't just tell a coach like, hey, your team's been invited to the round robin, and it's like 2 weeks before the tournament, because then you have to find them like housing, flights, etc., and you need to change their entire itineraries just so that they can compete in this extra thing. So that's why they do it really, really ahead in advance.
Is it before or after the tournament that the round robin goes on?
The round robin is on Thursday.
Okay.
The tournament starts Friday.
Right, which is interesting because the Blake round robin is after the tournament.
Yeah, I think that's the only tournament, or that's not necessarily true. So that's usually the exception to the rule. I think most round robins will begin sort of before.
Right, yeah.
Although I think there could be a case made that like a round robin after the tournament would be, sort of better for everyone. But,
yeah, it makes sense, right? That like the round robin is after the tournament.
Most teams will so they when you're a team invited to the round robin and the round robins before the tournament, you sort of have a choice, right? Like you could like leak all of your A strats
Right.
to like the teams that are likely you're going to meet again in out rounds of the real tournament, and do you can do that and then do okay at the round robin, or you could sort of sandbag all your strats and then reveal them all uh, at the tournament proper, and I
Right.
guess do better.
Which
But
is you could sort of say that's what we did at the Berkeley round robin, except we didn't have any strategies until the Berkeley tournament. But, because
yeah,
we used the round robin to just like learn about the topic, because we had no research and no evidence. So there's a third way that you can do it, where you come in knowing nothing and leave knowing something at
yeah.
least.
Well,
From
I
round
mean,
robin.
that's how I sort of did well at Harvard. It's just like I learned a ton about the topic at the Harvard round robin. And then I learned, and then we quartered, which
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
Yeah, you get and you get more rounds in against fantastic teams
Yeah,
that you're really only going to hit in late outs. Right?
exactly. And the question really is just going to end up being like, what do you value more, the success of like winning a round robin or the success of winning the actual tournament?
Yeah.
And that's a pretty tough question to ask yourself, right? Because in a way, they're so similar, but you know,
Well, yeah, because one can say
they're
that
just not the same.
if you win the round robin, it's like winning the tournament, because the round robin's supposed to take the best teams that are going to the tournament, right?
Sure.
But then
Yeah,
there are
possibly,
always
but yeah.
people that come out of nowhere. It flips, right?
Yeah, that's definitely true.
I don't know. Personally, I would much rather win the tournament than the round robin, just because the round robins are exciting.
Or yeah, I think the tournament is certainly harder, right? Like
Definitely harder.
you're seeing more judges. Also, like round robin judges tend to be like better judges overall because they come from programs that have good debaters. So good debaters usually have good judges.
Yep.
There's a correlation there. Uh, so
Yeah,
yeah,
it's nice.
it's certainly harder to win the tournament itself.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, oh man, I really hope that the judging at Bronx this year is solid, because I don't remember how our judging was last year, but judging can make or break tournament runs, in my opinion.
That's true. That's really true. Uh, and I mean, every tournament is different, but crafting your strategy really comes down to what the judge pool looks like at every tournament, and
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of teams understand that all
Yeah.
too well.
Like at Yale, I think the longest case we didn't have flow and lay cases. Well, that's just because this topic is also horrible. But
Yeah,
we only had lay cases at Yale because we figured even some of the coaches at Yale, like of like smaller schools that we don't necessarily know their presence on the debate circuit, might not be able to handle like the 950,000 word case that we would read at Harker, for example, if we had like certain people judging us.
yeah,
It's different ways.
that's true. I remember in a previous episode of this, you like just blasted my comments when I was judging you at the Harker tournament.
Yeah, that's right.
It's an interesting thing you did. I don't know.
I did ask you beforehand if I could show them up.
Did you?
Screen. Yeah, I did. I remember texting you.
I don't mind. It's fine.
I'm careful about that, because some judges, when we were like, I was trying to record one of our rounds, like our own round at like, God, I think it was Berkeley, and like one of the judges in outs requested that we didn't record it at all.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Some people just don't want. It was a weird thing though, because he thought that I was also going to record RFDs. I wasn't.
Right.
I just wanted to hear, like, just that I can listen to it afterwards and either laugh or cry depending on how I performed.
Right.
Because yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty helpful strategy if you want to like get better. Is you like just would film. So I thought this this is probably one of the most effective ways to get better is to just like film yourself debating and
Hmm.
then like watch it just like super critically and figure out what you did wrong.
Right? Yeah. The people do that in every sport, right? Like they just watch game tape of themselves.
Hmm.
So why not do it in debate as well? I think it would work great. Um, yeah. I don't really have many other questions for you, Kyle.
Okay.
I'm pretty set. I think
Pretty set.
yeah, I'm pretty set. I think this was solid, right? People seem to be liking it.
Yeah.
Do you have any last things that you want to say to our audience of like 15?
Uh, Not really. Thanks for watching, I guess.
Yeah.
This was pretty fun.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Kyle. I'm gonna
Cool.
shut off the
Yeah.
stream. I have no idea how. Bye bye. See ya.
So.